So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for showing up today. And this interview is brought to you by Burn Up Coaching and the 21-Day Challenge. And if you are an entrepreneur or high achiever and you're feeling vaguely dissatisfied, you feel unhappy, stuck, lost, lacking clarity, or maybe just really want to get your results to the next level, I would love to supercharge you and your life with the 21-Day Challenge. And what that is every day checking in, accountability, getting crystal clarity on your goals, your number one priority for 21 days, daily support, weekly deep dive calls to make sure that you're deprogramming, and unleashing yourself to the maximum level that you can. So that's the 21-day challenge. It's not for everyone. It's very intense, but if it sounds like the right fit for you, send me a message and we can see if it works out for you. And I'll send you an intake form and see if it's a good fit. So that's the 21-day challenge. And then this interview is also brought to you by our iTunes review of the week, which was left by Rico Cavaglia. And Rico says, I love Chris's title and subject. One of the biggest challenges we have as humanity is lack of expectation of what's possible. All of his podcasts are exactly about how to become your best possible self, because that's why you are here and because you can. Great stuff. Thank you. So Rico, thank you so much for leaving that review for us. And if you're on the marathon, you want to give us some feedback, review, go to beergps.com/iTunes or search Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self on iTunes, and it'll come up and you can leave us a review like that as well. Thank you in advance for doing that. We appreciate you and the feedback and what you let us know you want to hear more of, what you let us know you want to hear less of as well. The next step is the introduction of the man, the myth, the legend, Rich Brocchini. Rich Brocchini has dedicated his life to service and by trade is a firefighter and currently holds the rank of battalion chief. His 25 years in the fire service has exposed him to the importance of leadership, servantship, community, sacrifice, teamwork, compassion, health, family, and self-awareness. He has a strong passion for business with positive impact and has founded several successful businesses. His passion as a firefighter and entrepreneur has earned him the title Firefighterprenuer. He is the founder of Third Alarm Coffee and Tea, Fire Life Wellness, a nutraceutical company, co-founder of Life Code Consulting, is a licensed realtor and real estate investor, and the founder of Modern Time Dad, a community for dads. Rich is also a 2-time best-selling author in the areas of leadership and customer service. He believes that good play leads to great work and enjoys golf, mountain biking, surfing, snowboarding, dirt biking, and has even traveled the world in a Mexican boy band. Most importantly, he is a father, single dada, that lives a fired up life. Rich, are you ready to rock this, man?
Hey, what's happening? Let's do this.
Let's do it. We're doing it, man. We's doing it. Thank you so much for coming on. You are now live on Becoming Your Greatest Possible Self. We're going to dive in today and have a lot of fun. Thanks for showing up, man.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for what you do. I love how you do this all day, like a marathon of just value. And it's so cool. So
Thank you.
Thanks for what you're doing.
Thanks, Rich. Thanks, man. So let's dive into the theme of the day, which is what would it be like if? So this question of what would it be like if, the possibility, the opportunity of any possibility, what does that mean for you? How has that showed up in your life? What would it be like if?
That makes me think about just asking for what you want from the universe, from God, from people. What if? That's what I think about. So I think so many times we don't do that for whatever reason, whatever limitation. So I think, what would your life look like if you asked? For what you wanted, for what you needed, for what you desired. And it's really that simple. And if you don't get what you think that you need at that time, you may get what you want. So it's all perspective, right? So I like that. What if? That's a great question to ask ourselves all the time.
Yeah, beautiful, man. Thank you for that feedback and sharing your perspective on that. And for anyone who's just getting to know you, why don't you share a little bit more about who you are and what you stand for in the world?
Oh, wow. What I stand for, I'm still trying to figure myself out. Most importantly, I think it's about growth. And for me, the most important thing is my daughter. I'm a single dad. And so just want to be there for my daughter and have that daughter connection. I could talk for hours about that alone. Obviously, that's why I created this brand right here, Modern Time Dad.
Love it.
Always there. You don't have to be divorced, or a single dad. You can be married, but it's about dads that are always there. Even when they're absent, they're never gone, kind of thing. Or when they're gone, they're never absent. So anyways, it's a loaded question. I mean, I'm just a dude trying to figure it out, having fun, building, learning. By trade, I work in the fire department. I've been in the fire service for about 28 years now, hold the rank of battalion chief. And not sure if I'm going to go up any higher or not. I like the rank I'm in. I serve in some other capacities. I'm on an incident management team, a Type 1 team. In fact, I was just helping with the car fire for 18 days. Wow. I serve in that capacity as PIO, Public Information Officer. So I deal with communities, I deal with politicians, I deal with the firefighters and information, all that kind of stuff. So by trade, that's what I do. And I'm always in service. And the fire service has taught me a great deal about just about life, about family, about, servantship, about, just health and well-being, and how life is so precious and can be taken away from you like that. And, just to make every single minute count. And not everyone gets that, so it's taught me a huge lesson. In fact, the fire service, I'll just talk about that briefly. It's like our own mastermind. It's pretty unique. So imagine you get hired into this fire department with nobody you know, right? So like mastermind, these events that we all go to. And so they're all of a sudden, you have to prove yourself to these people and do certain things because their life depends on yours and vice versa. It's a big deal. And you do that for your first year. It's called probation. And then essentially these folks become your fire family for the next 20 or 30 years. It's pretty amazing. Wow. And we learn from each other. We grow up with each other, and from having kids, getting divorced, how to roof our house, how to, change something, how to change sprinklers in your yard. We essentially have our own mastermind too. It's pretty unique. No one's ever really thought about this, but at the kitchen table, firefighters sit around and we talk about life. We talk about the calls we went on. We talk about how some of them were pretty shitty. We talk about, how we want to try to make a difference. We talk about how we're hurting inside, and we talk about, our families and how we can help each other and so forth. So pretty unique. So by trade, that's what I do. I got about 5 more years left in the fire service before I can retire. And then, I own a couple businesses that do okay. I've written a couple books just because I wanted to. And, and a bunch of other stuff like that. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
That's epic, man. I love it. I'm going to dive into in a bit how you have so much energy and all these different ideas that you just freaking execute on, because I think a lot of people are in that ideation phase and it's like, I can't get this one thing to work. How is Rich doing all these different things? But before we get to that point, I want to go back in your journey, and I want to hear a little bit more about how your mindset was shaped to be an entrepreneur. When did you start being entrepreneurial?
That's an interesting question. So I think my mind was shaped to survive, right? So I come from a little bit of a bumpy upbringing. I wouldn't change it because it's maybe who I am. So as much as I appreciate the good, I appreciate the shitty, to be honest with you. So it kind of shapes us who we are, and it takes us at a certain time or age or an event in our life to really kind of understand and realize that if we're going to, we got to be thankful for the bad and the good. Yes, love. It's my daughter. Sorry. Yeah, My Little Pony is over. So entrepreneur, so that mind. So I think like entrepreneurs in my mind are always like, they're innovating, they're creating, they're thinking, and in a sense they have to survive on some level, right? Because they're it. They're not like you go to work and punch a ticket. And so I've always kind of had that, I think, basically from my upbringing. And I have a secure job as a firefighter, and I've always wanted to do things. I've always had ideas. And so I just started executing some of these things. And I know you and I have talked. Some of them go nowhere. They go to market and they make no money, but that doesn't matter to me. I do things because I want to do them. I don't care what people say or think or how successful people want to call them. Come here, love. Say hi. Say hi, Uncle Chris.
Hi.
What's your name?
Sienna.
Sienna. Okay. Give me a kiss.
Sienna.
Okay. Get your green iPad, and we'll do ABC Mouse. I'm talking to you right now. Thanks, love. So I, there's so many things I've done. I'll give you one example where I execute something, but it made no money and it didn't do anything, but it meant something to me. And then, what I learned from that process was, that's my daughter. Her middle name is Castle. So I have a company called Castle Band, castleband.com. And they're these headbands for baby girls, affirmation headbands. Excuse me. And they have words on there like talented, beautiful, strong, brave. Yes. And then there's an anchor next to those words, essentially, because, right, we know from 0 to 3 or 0 to 6, all these neural paths are essentially developed, right, in our brains. And so it's super important. So I did that for my daughter because I was noticing, wow, I wasn't really saying all these words that I want, anchor words for, her self-love, self-confidence. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, go put them in there. You can get some crackers. Thanks. You're welcome. And so I created that, and it was a cool concept. I created one little video about it, and also when one day 1,000 people viewed it and whatever, but it never went anywhere. I didn't really pursue it aggressively. it was something that I wanted to create for my daughter and myself. It's very entrepreneurial, right?
Right.
And maybe it could go somewhere. But I went and found how to manufacture and what to do and all that stuff was pretty unique. And it was really just for myself, my daughter. And then I have that down the road when my daughter gets older to say, look, this is what I did because I love you. And I wanted to make sure that I created those neuropaths for you to be a self-confident woman with self-love and be self-empowered. So nobody can tell you what to do and you can be your own person and live within those powers. And so that was something for me. But there's an example of like, just that kind of mindset. And I didn't really care where it went. There's other things I do that I want to make sure, that my time is exchanged for a certain type of outcome, right? It's not always the outcome I want, but there's just one example that my mind is always working that way. So I have these ideas and I execute on them. And there's been inventions, there's been a bunch of different things. And why not? Why not execute on them, right? Yes, thank you. Okay, thank you. All right, we're talking to Chris. Go get your Greek hat. Thank you. All right, I'm back.
It's all good, all good. So you have all these different ideas and inventions. Were you ever like attached to them working out and like you got frustrated or heartbroken when it didn't happen, or like anything like that?
No. It's an interesting question. I don't think I've ever been asked that question. Heartbroken. No, it's really easy for me to like say, okay, this particular thing had its run and now I'm done. I learned what I was going to learn. It's easy for me not to be attached to something in terms of like, okay, if this doesn't make it, I'm going to sink. There's philosophies about that in life, right? Burn the bridges or the boats and, all those kinds of things. It doesn't mean that I won't be extremely passionate about something. Yeah.
Can you just marshmallows?
Yeah, go get it, baby.
Where is it?
Oh, there's no more. Can you hang on 1 second?
Yeah.
Come here, love. Come here.
The realist of the real. I love it. So cute. For anyone who's watching the podcast, y'all are missing out on this cute little girl. You can hear her, but seeing her is even better. That's awesome. Wow. That's incredible. How Rich, like he's not attached. He's not attached to the idea. I think that's one of the biggest challenges of entrepreneurship is not being attached.
All right. Sorry, guys. Thank you. Single dad, ruling it. I just got back from 18 days in fires, so I haven't had my daughter.
Yeah.
I have my daughter most of the time, but love.
The TV's over. I don't want to watch this one.
Okay. You want to hang on 1 second?
Sure.
One more time. Come on. Yes, you can.
Petya loves it. Petya loves the cuteness.
Here, my love.
Oh my gosh.
Here you go.
All right. Castle band and being
right,
attached.
Guys. Thank you. I think I'm good now.
Cool.
So a lot of attention, but so it's not like I'm really attached to certain things. It's interesting that I want things to work out, and so you hear all kinds of stories about that. You got to focus on one thing, and after that you can do more. And I'm sure there's truth to all that. I think what's important being an entrepreneur is just the person being them and what works for them. And maybe I swear, like the different things that I do, they intertwine. Like there's things that I implement where I've learned from one product or one business I've done to another, and then so you kind of grow like all together. So I don't know, it works for me, and it's
for people who are more so starting on their entrepreneurial journey or the beginning of fulfilling their vision. How do they know what works for them if they're still like developing the skills to be able to succeed in the first place?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think a lot of people are in that position and they don't know what to do, so they're scared or they're nervous. I think the best thing to do is be around the right people. I think masterminds are a really good idea. Sienna, my daughter brings me my phone and she brings this up. It's a picture of her and I. She's at school.
Aww.
Honestly. Okay, love, listen. I'm talking to Uncle Chris, okay? Go take this up. Thanks, love. I'll be up in 2 minutes. So, so I think masterminds are super important. I think podcasts like this, what you're doing, you're obviously people that are watching this are doing it for a reason. You're bringing huge value to people to let them know that it's okay and how that journey works. I know you got the 21-day challenge.
Yep.
Yes, you have that. And, it's interesting. You say, hey, it may not be for you. And I would agree with that. And at the same time, I would challenge everybody to make it for them. Just do it and step into it and see what they get from that. Because I know who you are. I know what value you bring. I know what mindset you give to people and how encouraging you are. So anyways, this is not a plug for you, but I know who you are, what you're about. And so people should, that's a gift that you're doing that for people. And that's how they do that. They do that through folks like you, through other masterminds online, and they find their way. I would say navigate cautiously and ambitiously, because there are folks out there that, let's be honest, that bring value and bring a lot of good to what they're doing to help others, because as they help others, it helps them, and serving others, serving self, and they get that concept. And then in the world, I just believe this, in the world of personal development, there's also people that don't know what they're doing other than wanting to make money. And so it's just going to the right events, like Thrive, that's a good event. My buddy Cole puts that on. There's different events out there that are really valuable, different podcasts that are valuable, and just be around the right people, and people would find their way, and they're going to fail, they'll make huge mistakes, and anyways, I think that's the biggest thing to do.
That's powerful. And I know you had a long journey of personal development. What got you into that? And then especially as you got into that, the transformational side of personal development and mindset as well.
Wow. So, I've always been intrigued about overcoming. I've always been kind of the guy that in, playing sports growing up, that tell me no, and I'm going to win. I'm going to beat you. And so I always kind of had that inside of me. And so I wanted to learn, wanted to grow, knowing there's more out there, and just trying to discover, how I can fix, some of the things that I don't like that I do, or how I can become a better person or a better man. And not that I'm this bad person, but I believe there's always growth, right? And where do we get that? Some people get that at church. I have faith, but, besides that, I believe there's some really good people out there in the world of science and the world of your mind and soul and spirit, and there's all kinds of meditation. There's so many different things that they can work together. And so I wanted to, as I continue to grow in this path, I read probably a minimum of 4 books a month. If not read, I listen, a minimum. And all my books run together. So I bring something up, people are like, I can't remember what book that was, I'll show you. Or so I've always been on that path for a long time. And I think I was just in the fire service, I was focused on doing well, serving and promoting, and I promoted up to kind of the rank of a chief. And I said, hey, I want to focus on myself. I've been focused on my career, but, there's some leadership growth in some other areas, but I want to focus on really deeply on the inside. And so started that path, and with faith and, with personal development, and it got to meet, I know a lot of really neat people in the space. Just really beautiful men and women that are doing some good stuff and helping others. And it's kind of like it becomes your passion, right? Or your drug. You want more of it because it's healthy and it's fun, and you connect with people on a human level. And so then you run into once in a while a roadblock of someone where you go, you can feel not really sure that's a good fit, and a lot of hype and a lot of whatever else. So you just kind of navigate through those things. And I've been fortunate where some people have taken me in, but there's a man named Greg Reed, he's taken me in and years ago and just kind of shown me some of the path and the way to personal development and introduced me to some really neat people. And so I'm thankful for men like him, and I'm thankful for people like Cole Hatter. I've done some stuff in personal development for some C-level executives. Marshall Goldsmith, he's a local guy here in San Diego. I get a chance to, take walks with him on Saturdays and give some mentorship there. And so just by these people just kind of come to your life. Preston Smiles is another beautiful man, and his wife that have become my friends. And you gravitate, I think, towards the who you are, right, with those people. And so, I like to be half of who those people are. But there's some of these folks have kind of opened up some space to me. I keep going down the name of people. And, one of my business partners, Luis Lopez, just a beautiful man. And you just navigate through these things. And then, Patrick, a man who just, masterminds, and I learned that process and started doing stuff for different executives and, some private things, which is pretty cool. And it was just kind of unique. So then I became certified. I'm certified in DISC, that's, personality profiles, like, some of the other ones that are out there. And then also certified Patrick Lencioni's, success basically the 5 pillars, how to become a successful team.
Wow.
So team leadership. So anyways, done a bunch of that kind of stuff. So have some certification, some formal training, because it's fun to do that. And I think I've been in this position where people have needed that help, and I've been that person. And anyways, I could go on and on, but
So I love your eclectic nature. I love how passionate you are about so many different topics and areas, and I think that fuels you. Is there a downside for you? And if so, how do you manage that?
Yeah, the downside is not being too stressed out and prioritizing. And so yeah, it's a great question. And I've become, I think, a master. I swear I want to do a class on time management and prioritizing. Like I'm making this up right now because I don't have one to make. Time management and how to calendar for success, and do like a 1 hour, basically short little videos on how to do that and charge like $20, because that's been my success. And so, I have different goals, right? That's why I have like 6-month goals. I have a year goal, a 3-year, 5-year, and all that. And they change as you go through life and navigate.
Totally.
Or go through what I call quantum shifts, when big things happen in your life, and when you see things and discover things through faith and meditation, whatever it is. So this kind of changed a little bit, but it's kind of like my North Star, right? As my friend Michelle Dutro was here.
What's your process to review those or to stay connected with those, and how do you know when to shift, when to evolve?
So it depends on what I'm doing, essentially. So I calendar everything out a month out.
Okay.
So a month out, and I know most people spend more time planning a vacation than they do their life. So the biggest thing I would say is calendar. And what I've discovered is that highly successful people, and I can really speak to like C-level executives and those kinds of folks, and some entrepreneurs, but mainly those folks, and business owners of large businesses, they calendar everything. Yeah. So if it's not on their calendar, it typically doesn't get done, and they fill that up with something else. And so that's what I recommend. But that's what I do. So I calendar everything out. I have a lot of people that help me that I'm very thankful and grateful for, and I love for helping me. I'm committed to like these fire assignments for 18 days. So I have a team of people that help me, and amazing people in my life. And I prioritize everything around my daughter, right? So based on my daughter's school or what she has going on, everything gets prioritized around that. I've lost some pretty big accounts for my coffee company. I don't know if it's because of that or not. You're talking 6-figure accounts, but I don't care. So my daughter comes first, and then I fit everything else in from there. And I'm pretty active in real estate right now. And so I have quite a few clients. And so there are times, an example, where I calendar everything on my daughter. I bring her to appointments. Yeah. And I'll bring her to, showings or open houses, or I'll bring her to listing appointments and so forth. And that's just the way that it is. And if people can get that and understand that, then I'll work even harder for them. And so it's been pretty successful. But that's what I do. And there are times when I just say, hey, you know what? This day is nothing. So I'm not going to do anything this day. And it might be just simple kind of relaxing or whatever. It's rare for me. But then I maximize my time. So like at nighttime when my daughter's asleep, I work. And I work in emails, I do my research, whatever I need to do to be prepared for the next day. And the night before, I always prepare for the next day. Yes. Everything I need to do. So I write like a little 3x5 card. Those are my big things. Or I have one of these folders here. I have a bunch of them. And I carry this around, and then I cross them out as I go, or move them over. I use my phone sometimes, but I feel better when I'm not using my phone for that stuff. Yeah. And that's kind of how it gets done. And then throughout the day, like those respective things, sometimes different things will take priority. Oh, I got to move this up, or I got to do that. So that's how I kind of do it. And there are times where I'm like, oh, you know what? I need to take a break. And so other things kind of suffer, but it works. And I enjoy it. Other people, like I take time for me. I work out at the gym a certain time. I take my daughter to the gym, and while I work out, or I maximize all that, right? So she gets her playtime, a little bit of it, not with me, but a little playtime. I get, working out. Right. Other people will just do fun stuff. So I do fun things, and I can. I like to golf and surf and stuff, but I prioritize and I maximize my time. Every minute counts.
Yeah, beautiful. So you schedule your time, and we wanted to talk as well about impact and how to make that impact. So I know that calendaring is a big part of that, to be able to make the maximum impact, to be able to use every minute, every second. What are some other recommendations that you have, or what's worked for you as far as making a big impact?
Wow, that's an interesting impact. So I think we make impact in life in many different ways. And I think the first thing we need to do is make impact for ourselves. And what I would recommend anybody do is to figure out what values they live by. And I had somebody ask me that years ago. And so I thought about values for me. So I would recommend values, what they live by every day, and have an impact on themselves. And whatever area in life that can be impact on themselves by treating themselves right, negative self-talk, living a healthy life, being grateful for the simple things of like talking, walking, the fact we can do this on internet blows my mind, and so forth and so on, right? So I think making an impact with ourselves, fill your cup first, and then you can basically, as it overfloweth, you can help others more. And it's interesting, that word impact. So it's you hear that there's certain words you hear a lot, impact. I would exchange that word impact with service. And I would say, I would tell people, how can you be in service? And when we're in service, we don't have to sell. That's actually one of my titles in one of my books, right? Serving without selling. So when you serve, you actually create an impact. Because it's a different connection, right? So I wouldn't be so much. I would tell people, don't worry about impact. That's what I would tell people. I would tell people, don't even talk about that word impact, because just be in service, show up in service, be you. And when you do show up in service, then impact is created. And it could be simple impact. Sometimes people strive for impact to be like, oh, I have to do this because I want this huge impact. And at the end of the day, it's really, impact's really not that, for me at least. Impact is about maybe talking to one person, and it could be nobody in your circle. It could be some stranger, where you just listen and you're engaged and you share your heart and you're in service to that person, and you shift them from being a better parent to being a better person, being a better son or daughter, maybe not drinking anymore, or maybe doing something in life they always wanted to do but never had the courage to do. And I get that a lot when I talk to people. Oh man, I went out and did this because you made me feel like I could. And that's not trying to have an impact. That's just me believing in people, right? Because people believe in me, especially second chance. I'm a big second chance guy. People that get a second chance and they're grateful for it, it's like I'll do anything for them. Give my shirt. So it's just about being in service. And when we're in service, we create that, because people will say they want impact, but the impact is people want to feel how the impact they have. That's the wrong mindset. The mindset is to be in service, and then the rest will come, and the impact a wave will be created by that. And it's fun when we're in service. So anyways. Yeah.
So in terms of being in service but not selling, how do we do that? How do we serve without selling, or serve in a way that replaces selling, or it takes care of the selling for us? Yeah. Well, you can never sell to somebody who doesn't want something that you have, right? So you got to find where whatever it is you're doing, people want it. And Tim Ferriss says, he says a long time ago, he who cares less wins. And there's element of truth to that as well. And you intertwine that, I think, with being in service, because if you care too much about making a sale, kind of thing, you'll never make it. You'll never do it. But I think the thing about being in service instead of selling is just offering the right people what you have or what you do, whatever they may be. And it may, if you're in counseling, if you're selling online classes, if you're selling a product, if you're in medical sales, whatever it may be. And it's really fun now. I think we've always heard this about what their needs and wants are, what needs, wants and desires. And then we hear about know, like, and trust you. Well, nobody's going to know, like, and know, like, and trust you if you're trying to sell them something right off the bat. So at the end of the day, there's a good book that I think of. I think it's called Dig Your Well Before You Need It. And it's, I forget his name. He used to own an envelope company. But that book talks about being in service, where essentially he could pick up the phone and call anybody at 2 a.m. and get someone to write him a check for $100,000 because of just how he's in service to people. But going back to the original question about not selling and serving, it's just that. So if you have to convince somebody, then you're talking to the wrong person. Now, if you're just explaining or explanatory of what you can offer, where they're like, say their pain points are, and we've heard this, right? Their pain points are, if you can fill a gap where their pain points and remove those pain points, that's being in service. But I swear, so much business is done based on relationship, know, like, and trust. And because there's other people who can do the exact same stuff or thing or whatever. And I think it's just listening to people and
and maybe connecting. Maybe you don't make a sale, right? The first time you meet them, second time or whatever, but you build that rapport and relationship. You see what people are doing online now, different funnels and those things. And then people try to get information. That's a whole nother topic. And it can work, be successful, just that one topic, because people are offering true value to people, and so they get to know, like, and trust you. And so it's about that, I think that's the biggest thing about serving, so you don't have to sell. And in fact, I do a whole class on this actually through DISC.
That's awesome.
It's about knowing the other person's personality, who they are, what they want, and those kinds of things. I think the biggest part about that is when people are just who they are, no matter what their need they're trying to feel for somebody else and that kind of stuff. If they just are them and not worrying about the sale, they'll be successful.
Damn. Just own yourself, be yourself, and show up and serve and do what you love. I think that's a big thing, is if you're in an industry or something income generation that you don't love, like, why are you doing that? Find something that you love. Switch your ability to generate money to something that you're really passionate about, because, like you said, we're not promised this next second or the next minute or the next day, or whatever it might be. So I'm curious, what does it mean for you to be a modern time dad? What does it mean to be a good dad, or even a good parent in general?
So, being a good dad is work every day, and it's fantastic. So it's about, being present. For the biggest part for me is about being there for my daughter, always being there, being supportive, being understanding. And that's the biggest thing. And then growing with her. There's a good book called Strong Father, Strong Daughter. Highly recommend it to fathers out there of any age, fathers of any age. It doesn't matter, any age. So written by, she's a doctor. Obviously, she has a father, and this is a great book. So I recommend that. But it's about understanding. Yeah, that book will take you through what it looks like to look through the lens of a girl and how she views her father. The massive responsibility it's breathtaking. It's incredible. So it's about being there for my daughter, and at her age right now, I know she's 3.5. It's about being understanding. It's about being empathetic. It's about being explanatory. It's about those things, and it's fun. As you get older, you increase discipline and so forth. But it's about connecting. It's about making sure she's safe, making sure she's secure. It's about making sure that she understands she can make a mistake and she learns every day. She's empowered as a woman. That's extremely important to me as a father of a girl. It says to make sure she grows up to be a strong woman. Extremely important to me that she can take care of herself and be who she is and have the ability to do whatever she wants. And, then there's another capacity to that is, financially, I do okay now. So if I didn't want to work, that would be okay, and I would be fine. But I don't want that, so I want more for my daughter. I want to give her the ability to basically not have to work. I know people think that's really weird, but I want to give her the ability to make decisions and grow in who she is, however that may be. If she wants to go to college, she can. I have my own feelings about that, but there'll be money there for her to do that. If she wants to be an artist and travel around the world, she can do that. And so that's a component, right? So you have an emotional component, you have a faith component, you have a supportive component, and there's a financial component. And that's a big part of it for me, because that's important to make sure that she has the ability to do whatever she wants. So it's just this path of growing and learning and being there. And it's so much fun. It's awesome. And like the tagline says on the brand, always there. So even when, you're gone, you're not absent. And, I make dinner for her, I make lunch for her and make her, single dad, I do it all. But there are married dads that do the same thing. They're crushing it. And they go to the dance classes like I do for my daughter. They make lunch and they go to tumble classes. They do whatever it is, or whatever that may be for them to connect with their daughter. Let's play Legos for 3 hours, but it's just connecting at that level. And I think the mentality of the old school of like, well, I got to go to work and that's all I do. And what, I see my kid when I can, that's going away. And that's not based on me. It's going away based on the men in this generation and the generation to come. And so that's what a modern time dad is to me. And it's no dig in any fathers in the past. They did the best they could, what they knew and what they had, right? So now it's a chance for us to make a wave and kind of create that. There's so many things for moms, and we love moms, and moms crush it. And you know what? It's time that there's things for dads, and there's time that the dads step into that. So that's why I created this brand. There's more to follow. What I'm doing with this brand, it's going to be awesome. There's going to be community. There's going to be a bunch of stuff with it. And I think it's an awesome time right now where dads are super happy and proud to be a dad, and you see all the dad shirts and hats and different stuff like that, and you see them rolling solo by themselves with their kids. So anyways, a little more than you wanted, but that's what being a modern
time. That's great, man. It's great. It's great. So that's what being a modern time dad means. And I love how whether it's just you with your daughter, which is dad to daughter, or dad to son, or mother to son, mother to daughter, whatever it might be, that we are evolving that mindset, that paradigm around what it means to be in relationship with our kids, with our family. Because I think that there's this like disconnect that happened when it was weird to love your family and love your parents. I know for me, I was like, I didn't like that love, receiving that love. I said I didn't know what love means and blah, blah, blah. And I resented my parents and pushed them away. And I recognized that caused so much pain in my life, so much suffering in my life, because I resented my roots. Like my roots are my source of power, are my source of who I am today. And to not be grateful for that, or to condemn that or resent that, would like mean that I'm condemning myself and the man that I am today and the values that I have, which are incredible and awesome, because my parents did such an amazing job. And it would be foolish for me to think that they didn't. So I'm just grateful that whole paradigm is turning on its head, and we're able to, doesn't matter what the genders are, doesn't matter what the roles are, whatever, just show up and give that love, give that time, give that attention, the physical touch, the spending time. Doesn't matter if it's a dad going with his daughter to ballet, or dad going with his daughter to play softball. It doesn't matter. You can still show up and fully support your kid or whatever it is with what they're passionate about.
Yeah, it's fun. And that's awesome that you feel that, that now. It's weird because I think so many of us go through what you went through, and myself and others, and then all of a sudden as we get older, we're like, oh man, we need to undo this.
Clean it up.
Personal development, faith, meditation, spirituality, all those things, connecting with people like you and I, your viewers or listeners and so forth. And it's a cool time right now, right? There's this huge, I believe, huge shift, right? New teachers, new students, kind of things, pretty cool stuff. But it's our mess is our message, and there was times where I don't really want to say that when I was younger, but I have no problem talking about my past and my upbringing and all those things. And it's no dig to my mom or dad. I love them to death, and they did what they could, and raised by my uncle, who I love to death as well. And anyways, I go on and on, but it's that's a reminder to people that this be be you, and your message. And when people want to judge you for the chapter they walked in on, you got to question that, or for the past chapter, you got to kind of question that. And sometimes it's hard, it's like on the Maslow's hierarchy scale of, survival stuff. We want to be accepted and so forth and those things. But at the end of the day, people should block out that kind of negative stuff.
Yep. So you mentioned you do, 5-year, 3-year, 1-year goals and stuff like that. So it's 5 years from now. It is, what is that, 2023, August 15th, 2023. What are the 3 things that you want to look back on those last 5 years and be so proud that you accomplished?
One, being retired from the fire department. I got hired on an early age, so I'll be very grateful that I made it out there healthy and alive. That 5 years from now, that my daughter and myself have even a deeper connection than we do already do, and that essentially in the 5 years from now, I'm a full-time dad, and there's nothing that I have to do other than be with my daughter. And if things go the way they're going, I think I'll be there.
Awesome, man, awesome. What kind of personal development do you think you will need to do to be able to get to that point?
Well, I mean, like I said, I read many books, and I go to seminars, and the right ones for me at least, but I do a lot of reading. So, I think for me, I'm more about executing. I know who I am. I know how I show up. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. And I feel good about who I am and what I'm about. And I'm always learning. I'm always growing, for sure, obviously. So I think it's important to continue to be around that healthy environment. So I guess in a roundabout way, I got to be around healthy people and people that are supportive, right? So you got, I didn't make this up, but you got, here's like the very top, right here. And it goes, either people contaminate your life or they contribute to your life. Millicek made that up. I'm just stealing it right now. He's a good guy. So I think he does it the other way. So that I think that's what's important. And I think it's what I recommend. if I could tell anybody that, that's what's important. And, you know, you always hear these things, you know, the 5 people you're around and all this stuff, Jim Rohn, and everybody says it, Tony Robbins, you know, everyone says it. It's true, right? It's totally
live
true.
by it. Live by it. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's true. And so I would rather personally be alone than with people that contaminate my life.
Yeah.
And it's a trip because sometimes it's lonely, right? But I'm so busy with my daughter and the other stuff I'm doing anyways. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is to make sure I'm around the right people and keep the right people around me, and make sure my daughter's exposed to the right people. And that's what's super, super important for me. And I think that's that simple, like, right? So like, besides reading books or going to seminars or all that stuff, that's, I think, like the easiest secret there is. And if people do that, you know, it's like this, if you want to be a millionaire, do you go get advice from someone that's not a millionaire? No, you don't. You just don't, right? So, you know, do you go ask, you know, Michael Jordan about football? No, you don't, right? But basketball all day long, right? So I think a lot of times we go and we want the opinions of these people that are close to us, have no clue, and they give their own, you know, not so positive. You know, people are seeking counsel from the wrong people, right? So, anyways, you got to keep the right people around you, and they could change. Your 5 people can change and so forth, but that's going to be the biggest important thing for me.
Beautiful. And then you are such a powerful executor, right? You execute very effectively. What would you say is your strategy to take something from an idea into execution, into fulfillment?
I just do it. Like, shucks, I don't know. I just do it. Yeah, I don't, there's, you know, a lot of people go, oh, this is going to be hard or whatever. And I just do it. And then it becomes a challenge. Like if something's difficult, then I push you and do it. There's a way for anything, right? It's live in America. It's incredible. The world's incredible. There's, I mean, we fly. It's amazing, right? We go in underwater submarines, thousands of feet deep. It's just bananas. We could keep going on and on, right? So we put these outside devices inside our body that take place of our heart. I mean, brilliant people. Like, do you think we used to think the world is flat? I mean, come on, we could just keep going on and on, right? So anything really is possible. And so I just take action. There's not one really, you know, mindset, anything else that I do. You know, everyone talks about maybe a why, and, you know, my daughter's my why, but there's lots of whys. It's not just one thing. It's not just your girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, daughter, son. We all have many whys. It's, you know, success, it's freedom, it's security, it's all these different things. But I just action, man. I just take action. If there's something I want to do, I do it. If there's something I don't want to do, I don't do it. And I try to involve the right people. If I'm going to do something with somebody else, that's the biggest thing. If you're going to work with somebody and they're not going to, if they're going to weight you down, just get rid of them. I've been part of groups and masterminds and other things where it's like, I'm doing all the work and it's ridiculous. We're not sharing, you know, we're not all holding the stick, so to speak. And so if people are doing that, I recommend that they stop right away and then just do things yourself. I've been, you know, I've done that years ago where I try to convince people it's such a great idea. I'm like, why am I convincing people that it's going to be a good idea to make a crap load of money, be successful, and have fun? That's stupid. So I'm like, okay, I'm convincing the wrong people. So, you know, make sure you don't do that either, because we all get caught up in that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. Why Rich stopped trying to convince people. I'm taking notes, man. I'm taking notes. This is good. So, yeah, man, this is awesome and really incredible, and I love your wisdom. In terms of one of the biggest challenges you think entrepreneurs are facing these days, what do you think that is?
Noise. Yeah, maybe noise. What to do, where to go, what to buy, how to do it, what groups to be part of. I mean, we're talking about masterminds, super important. And I think that's the biggest thing. There are lots of people in this space, an entrepreneurial space, that help and that serve, you know, with marketing or with online classes or with seminars. We go on and on about a lot of different products and things that are out there. And it's noisy, you know? And so I say for people to kind of take what I call a tactical pause and think about what they're getting involved with and who they're getting involved with, and to ask the right questions. Sometimes people spend a lot of money on some of these things and they are afraid to ask questions, or if they're not getting the service they don't want or they deserve for the money they're paying, they just kind of go to the sidelines, you know? And so ask good questions and like I said, tactical pause and think about what you're getting involved with, and just do. You know, there's a great line in a Will Smith movie. I forget what movie it is, but you know, he says, you know, fear is not real. Danger is real, but fear is not real. It could not be any more true on a human level, right? So danger we think of when we go back to how we evolve and so forth, when we hear noises like a lion's going to jump on us and kill us and so forth. And this fear stuff we've made up, right? Like, oh, this person holds this position. They're powerful. I'm afraid of her or him or whatever. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. In fact, those people at the top, it's usually more lonely. Yeah. So don't let that hold you back as well. So the noise is one. Listen, tactical pause, listen to your heart, your intuition. Somehow your intuition knows what you need or what you want at the time. Follow it. And then don't be afraid to go in it with anything and do it. And it doesn't matter. It's all an experiment anyways. If it doesn't succeed, it'll lead you to another place anyways. And you'll look back and go, and Steve Jobs says it, all these successful people, right? I'm quoting all these people. None of this is my crap. And you know how he talks about in his famous speech, you know, if you somehow you can look back and connect the dots backwards, my God, it could not be any more true. I get goosebumps right now. Just it could not be any more true. And I know people watching and listening to this are saying the same thing. Yeah, if I wouldn't have done this or this or this, I wouldn't have been right here, or I wouldn't have been there. And they're right. And you're probably saying the same thing. I know I can say the same thing about many things, and from a relationship to, you know, to whatever it may be, to opens doors and so forth. So it's just about doing. And sometimes we'll go and do, and it may not, that particular thing may not lead us to what we thought it was going to lead us to, but leads us to something else, maybe even more abundant, right? And so just do. And who cares? Like, you go back, like, look at Jack in the Box. They evolved, their logo has evolved, I think it's 17 times. So, and they showcase that, right? They put on their little mat they have, you know, if you go and eat there, it's on the little mat. And you can look at it, and it was this really scary looking, like, Jack in the Box dude that was like half hanging out.
Right.
Like, for me, I don't like clowns, so that's creepy. And so I'm sure many people told him, like, hey, that's creepy. Like, you know, why do you have, like, that's a weird, you know, that's not what we do. And then look where they are now, you know. So obviously huge success, you know. Right. The story of Chuck E. Cheese, you know, Gene, the founder. And I think you've met Gene as well. You know, it's like people, a mouse, your mascot, really? You know, so, but look how successful that was. And so, you know, we get afraid. We think it has to be perfect, and we think we got to have this figured out. And we could go down the list of all stuff. I have some of my logos. I have bags. I think I put a post with all my different puppy bag of logos as an example. And then, you know, I went through 5 of them and then developed this one. It's killer. Yeah. You know, here, and I got stuff here. Anyways, all kinds. It's bitching. It's cool. That's awesome. But my first one was horrible. You know, it was a sticker you put on, and you know, this gross red bag that was like off red because it was cheap, and you know, blah blah blah. Right? To these bags that are just phenomenal, and you know, it's a kick-ass brand, and my mission, vision, purpose on it, and you know, cool stuff here about what we're about. Anyways, blah blah blah. Awesome. So that's just an example. I only give that example just to show people that. Like if I would have been like, oh, you know what, I gotta wait till this is perfect, or that, you know, I wouldn't have been doing it. My logo changed. I had a partner. As soon as I got rid of that partner, or we separated ways, I changed my logo for what I wanted, and you know, the company's done really well. You know, it's a decent 6-figure company. So it's, you know, you just got to do. And so watch the noise. And I know, I think you probably want to close on this. I'm open to keep talking, but watch the noise. You know what? Don't get overwhelmed with the noise, and don't be fearful. Just do. It's all an experiment, and who cares what people think? If you feel like in your heart you're doing the right thing. And for people that are in the corporate world or have some type of job, 9-to-5 job, it's scary. So I'm a guy that says don't quit your corporate job and then just go all in. That's just me. And it works for other people. You know, parachute, all that. And I say it probably because I've had a parachute with the fire department. You know, it's been my #1 occupation. It still is. Yeah. Stuff gets done on my days off, but you know, you want to ease into things. I believe, you know, there's different ways you can make money online. You can do all kinds of different stuff. You know, Shopify. You can do drop shipping. You know, so start with something where you can build and grow until you get the confidence where you know you can make a living. And I say that even more if you have a family and so forth. But you know, people are going to do what they do and what feels comfortable. But you can do this path a little bit of time. You can take a year and build and grow little by little, and all of a sudden you get to a place where you can make a decision. Go, you know what? It's probably time for me where I can step away from this job, and I can always come back if I need to. Don't burn any bridges, and go try this entrepreneur stuff and see what happens. So that'd be my biggest recommendation for people that have 9-to-5 jobs.
I'm curious, how long were you in your firefighting career before you like started exploring the entrepreneurial route?
Well, there's inventions that I've done, before I became aggressive in the entrepreneurial world. But I don't know. I would say I've always had that. I've had that spirit forever. But when I started executing, probably about 15 years ago or so.
Okay.
When I started kind of executing, and my stuff's slow to grow. So I know I'm quick for action, but it's slow to grow because the fire department's number one. So that's what I have to focus on first. Right. And then the other stuff comes. And like I said, that's why I calendar it all out. Other people have even told me, oh, you should quit. I have many people tell me actually that you should quit and just go all in. I'm like, that might work for you, but not for me. And my plan is I have retirement and those things. And in 5 years, I can do all that. And even with some other financial gains. So, so I'm in a position where I can do those kinds of things. And, there's a lot of nowadays people can keep their 9-to-5 job and do things when they get home, or do things when their kids are sleeping. And so they might be able to do both for a while. Amazing. So Rich, people love this interview. I love this interview. It's awesome. How do they stay connected with you, and what do we want them to do next? Yeah, you know what's interesting? I don't know if I'm important enough for anybody to stay in contact with me. It's like, so it's a few things about me. I mean, if they want to fall asleep, they can look at my website, richbrocchini.com. And I think you and I spoke, and I'm working on this on a couple things. One of them I'm working on is an online course. It's called Ace Your Job Interview. It's funny, we're talking about entrepreneurship, and we're talking about job interview. But once that gets up, we'll offer that free to all your listeners, whoever wants it. So that thing, it's done. We just got to do the recording. So probably in the next month or so, that will be done. So that's something that we want to give you and your listeners. They can do whatever they want with it. And so it's that. And just keep a lookout. There's a few things I'm launching out there. And I think for this audience, the biggest one is Modern Time Dad. That's going to be not only hats and shirts that are going to be really cool stuff, and hoodies, but I'm also going to create a community around that. And I have those established social media accounts, and haven't done anything with it, but more to come. So maybe that's something I can share with you when it's time. Yeah. Also going to be doing a nutraceutical company with that. So there's going to be the own line of Modern Time Dad multivitamin, Modern Time Dad stress support formula, Modern Time Dad neuro brain focus. Love it. So that's already done, and I just have to essentially get my store built. So like I said, I take quick action, but slow to build because fire department and my daughter and stuff. But that's something that maybe I can reach back out to you or give to you by the time this airs, and people can become part of that community. All the dads out there, love you moms, but that's for all the dads. And that's about it. I mean, locally here in San Diego, I do real estate, and so if anybody's looking to buy us a house, love to be in service, and myself and my team be in service to you. I'll save you thousands of dollars on what I do and on my commission, all that stuff. And that's it, And if anybody wants to reach out to me, please feel free to reach out. How I can be in service. That's my biggest thing. And if it's connection, if you want to meet somebody, you want to go to something. So that's about it. Dude. You're the man, Rich. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for your big heart, big service, protecting our communities from fire. Thank you for being a great dad and the role model that your daughter needs, man. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Thanks for what you're doing. This is awesome. And it's things just like this that are empowering people to kind of step in who they are and what they're about. I love your challenge. I think it's pretty killer. I recommend people do the challenge because you can only grow and become better. And man, it's just been amazing to see where you're coming and where you're going and what you're doing for people. And I'm super stoked to call you a friend. So thank you. Thank you, Rich. We'll see you soon, okay? All right, my man. See you, brother. Take care, brother.